Hello guys. It's about 7 o'clock, but we'll wait for a couple other people to come trickling in. And and today our topic is going to be lists in Python. Okay, sorry for the delay, but we'll wait like one or 2 minutes to see if anyone else decides to join. And then uh at around like 7:03, we're gonna get started with our lesson. So all right, seems like most of the people have gotten here already, so um I'm gonna go on with our lesson today. So today we're going to be talking about Python lists. So a list is a here's an example of a list. My list is apple, banana, and cherry. And lists are there. It's a way to store multiple pieces of multiple items into a single variable. And lists they're one of the four built-in data types, which are that like store collections of data. There's three other ones: tuple, set, and dictionary. Tuple is very similar to list, except it's not, you can't change the tuple. And then dictionary, we will talk about later on we'll talk about dictionary later on in a little bit. And then, so to create a list, you use square brackets. And in this first example, we have this list is equal to apple, banana, and cherry. Um, the items that we want in our list are apple, banana, and cherry. They should be separated by commas, and the whole thing should be enclosed within one big square bracket. And so if we run this code, it'll print out apple, banana, and cherry, exactly as we want it. Um, and for the items that we actually put in a list, they're ordered, changeable, and allow duplicate values, which and a very important thing to note is that lists and items are indexed. And the first item always has index 0, and the second item always has index 1. So for example, apple would have index 0, banana would have index 1, and cherry would have index 2. And okay, Um, and that's what we mean by we say they're ordered. And changeable means that we can change the list. So once we created the list, we can add stuff, we can remove stuff, we can completely clear it, delete it. We can also change an element, like we could change cherry to like pineapple, something like that. Uh, and so for the data types that you can put into a list, you can put pretty much anything into a list. You can put strings, you can put integers, you can put booleans, uh, floats. You can even put variables into a list if you wanted. And so here's an example of list one, which contains 3 strings. List two contains 5 integers, 1, 5, 7, 9, 3. List three contains 3 booleans, true, false, and false. And then lastly, list four contains a variety of multiple ones. Jimmy has 6 true diamonds. So that's a string, that's a string. And then we have an integer, a boolean, and a string. And so that's just basically defining a list. And next, we're going to talk about the length of a list. So to determine, oh, actually, I should probably share the link to this before I go on any further. I'll share the link to this collab to see, so you guys can follow along on your screen as well. So I'll just paste this into chat, everyone. Okay. So you guys can use that link to follow along with the follow along with our lesson today in case you want to run any code. Oh, also, okay, it probably won't. I'm not sure if it'll let you edit or not. Let me see. Yeah, that you guys can view it. If it doesn't let you edit it, just you guys can go up top here and then press somewhere here it says make a copy. Um, yeah, save a copy and draw it right there. You can do that if it doesn't let you edit. So, any questions thus far about lists? Okay, that's great. So now that we know how to define a list, we can learn a little bit more about them. And the first thing we can learn is how to find the length of a list. And we do this by using the length function, len. And if we do, if we print len and in parentheses the variable that our list is stored to, then it'll print how many items are in our list. So in this example, the length of this list would be 3, since it contains apples, which is 1, bananas, which is 2, and cherry, which is 3. So if we count 1, 2, 3, that's how many items are in this list. And so far, we know that we can find the length of the list. So I'll ask you guys to do a really quick challenge question. So given 2 lists, list 1 and list 2, check if the length of list 1 is greater than, equal to, or less than list 2, and just print out something telling you the result. Um, this is going to make use of conditionals that we used last week, the conditionals that we used last week. So I'll give you guys about 5 minutes to try this question. You guys can like DM me, just text me when you guys are done. And yep. Okay, does anyone have a answer? If you do, just tell me if you guys need more time. Yeah, if you guys need a little bit more time, just text me that as well. Or if you guys want a hint, um, make sure you tell me. I'll be happy to give you one. Okay, I'm assuming, uh, I'm gonna assume that since anyone hasn't really told me that they're done yet, I'll assume that uh you guys need a little bit more time, so I'll give you guys till 7:16 to finish this one. Uh, yeah, remember that that length will return an integer, and you can compare integer. Yeah, you can compare integers. So, okay, so hopefully with the extra time, some of you have finished the question, but if not, don't worry, I'll go over the answer so you guys will understand. So this is so what you do is you would first check if list length of list one is less than length of list two, and if so, we will print a message saying something like list one is less is uh is shorter than list two, and then we'll just do this twice to check if if it's less than, and then if it's equal to, and if it's not less than, and if it's not equal to, then there's only one other option, which is greater than. So else elif last you'll print list one is longer than list two. List one is equal to list two. And in this case, it would print list one is shorter than list two because list one only has four. It has a length of four, while list two has a length of eight, I think. Okay, so anyone still have any questions on this challenge question problem? Okay, if there's no questions so far, then we'll go on to the next topic. And so what we're gonna be talking about next is accessing items in a list. And so remember I mentioned that lists are ordered, which means that they can be referred to by their index number. And index numbers are just like an ordering system that Python uses, and it assigns an index to each value item in a list. So the first element in a list, Apple in this case, has index 0. The second item in a list has index 1. The third element in a list has index 2, and then etc. Um, the like nth element in a list always has index n minus 1. So that's something to, I guess this is it, index 0. So that's something to take note of, is that unlike when you're counting, when you count, you usually start counting from 1. In Python, with lists, you start counting from 0. So it goes 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And that is how indexes work in Python. And how we access a specific item is we take our list and then we do bracket and then whatever index we want. So let's say we wanted to retrieve the first item of it. We would retrieve my list bracket 0. This would return apple. And then printing my list bracket 3 would print out strawberry, since strawberry has a index 3. So you see it'll print out apple and strawberry. And so I have uh, another quick practice challenge question to help you guys understand accessing list items better. And using this my list, this pre-made list I gave you guys, um, you guys can try to create a sentence out of this list. Uh, so I'll give you guys like 5 minutes to do this one. And you guys can like send me some of the like creative sentences you guys create. There's not too many possibilities, but um, there's a couple things you can do. So I'll give you guys like 5 minutes until 7:25 to do this one. Also remember that all these elements in here are strings. So you can use string concatenation, which is something we learned last week to build our sentence. Um, so I'll just try to give you guys a quick hint. Uh, you can start by prefacing my list. Like let's say you want to start with I, which probably most of you are going to. Uh, my this would print out, this would return I, and then let's say we wanted to add it to like I am. That would am is if we check, it's index 0, 1, 2, 3, and so this would print out I am. But we also remember that there's a space. we want a space in between, and space um is the second to last index, and that's 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. We print my list of 6 and plus my list of 3. That'll print out IM. So that's just a starter code for IM. See if you guys can try to make something more creative than just IM with this, you guys can, it doesn't have to have to make sense, but do something cool with it. Has anyone come up with a couple sentences? I've gone a few sentences. Let me see. 0, 1, 2. See, one is I am flowers, and then someone else said I have a phone. Oh, okay. There's a question that says index error list index out of range. So that basically just means that you're trying to look for a, it means you're trying to look for something in the list that's outside of the range of indexes. And so if we count in my list, it has index 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So if you try to do anything outside of 7, so like anything greater than 7, let's take for example 8, it would tell you that the same index error, that list index is out of range. So make sure that all your make sure whatever index you're looking for, it's 7, less than or equal to 7. That's probably where it's going wrong. Okay. All right, great to hear that you fixed it. That's nice. Oh, spaces. For spaces, I added I believe that's index 6, 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yeah, that's index 6. Index 6 should be a space. Oh, okay. Um, Let me quickly try that. Oh, it does have spaces. I'm not quite sure not quite sure what is wrong, but does I have a phone? Okay. All right. So yeah, I'm not, maybe refresh your collab, that might work. But I'm not really sure how to fix that one, but uh, your code is correct, and that's the most important part. And all right, so it seems like you guys know how to, access list items by using their index. And oh, that's good to hear. You refreshed it. So next we're going to talk about negative indexing. What would have made the last problem easier is if we knew about negative indexing, but I'll just explain it to you now. So negative indexing is something I think is like I think it's pretty unique to Python, but, and basically you can use a negative numbers as your index to start counting from the end of the list rather than the beginning. So if we compare the indexes side by side, we have 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, which is apple, banana, orange, strawberry, blueberry, raspberry, grape. And each one of these has a positive index as well as a corresponding negative index. So the negative first index is the last item in the list. The negative second index is the second to last item in the list. The negative third is the third to last, sorry, and negative fourth is fourth to last, and etc. So this can be useful a lot of times when you're trying to find the last or second to last value in a list, or let's say it's much easier to do that than to like find a list and then like subtract a number, and you have to like think a lot about how many numbers you have to subtract. Sometimes putting just -1 or -2 to retrieve the second to last or the first to last item is very easy. And this is a good example, this challenge question. Using negative indexing, print the sum of the last three numbers in the list. It's much easier in this case to, use negative indexing rather than trying to count every single index up to that number, which oftentimes you may get wrong. So this one's pretty easy. So I'll give you guys about 3 minutes to do this one. Uh, you guys can send your answers to me when you're done, or just type like yes or done or anything really. If you want to type a joke or something like that. Okay, cool. So this one is pretty easy, and I'll quickly go over the answer for this one. Hopefully you guys, I see a couple, most people are finished with this by now. And how we can do this one is by printing my list, and then -1, which is the last digit, and then plus my list of -2, which is the second to last digit, and then my list, that's the wrong bracket, my list -3, to print the sum of the last three digits, and so some of the last three numbers, and this should print 754. If you guys could verify with that with the calculator if you guys want, but if you add those three up, that is indeed 754. So, all right, great job, everyone. So next, we're going to talk about the range of indexes. So far we've just been referencing one index at a time. However, in Python, you can specify a range of indexes by specifying where to start and where to end the range. When specifying a range, the return value will be a list with the specified items. So in this example below, we have my list is equal to just the same thing as what we had before, just a list of fruits. And if we want, like if we want multiple elements of that list, then we will use the same idea. We'll have brackets, but in this case, instead of just putting a single number, we will put two numbers separated by a colon in between them. And uh, this would print orange, strawberry, and blueberry when we print it. And notice how this only prints three elements and not four, because um, uh, with the ranges of indexes, the search will start at index 2. It includes index 2. However, it goes up to but not including the fifth index. So in this case, if we start at index 2, we see it's 0, 1, 2. So we include orange, and then index 3 is strawberry. We include that as well. Blueberry is index 4, and we include that. Raspberry is index 5, but however, we don't include that. So we will only take everything, all these three values over here. We're only going to take orange, strawberry, and blueberry. And hence why this is the result of our code. We got orange, strawberry, blueberry, rather than orange, strawberry, blueberry, raspberry. This is a lot of times it's really easy to make a mistake on this, so keep track of which elements you want. And in this case, we have a number on both sides of the colon, but by leaving out the start value, the the range will automatically start at the first term. And by leaving out the end value, the range will automatically, leaving out the end value, the end value will automatically just go to the end of the list. So in this example, we have 2 all the way to the end, which is orange all the way to the end, so orange all the way to grape. So yes, as you see, it prints orange, strawberry, blueberry, raspberry, grape. And then if instead we take this, if we switch this to the other side, it'll print everything up to but not including the second index. So it'll print everything up to but not including orange. So this will just print apple and banana. And we can use the range of negative indexes as well. My list -4 to -1 would be -1, 2, 3, 4. It'll start at strawberry, blueberry, raspberry, but it does not include this the last item. So it'll just print those three items, strawberry, blueberry, raspberry. And okay, so we're gonna go on to a little more about conditionals next. So just want to check that everyone so far understands what's going on with this. Okay. All right, that's if I want to use negative, but I also want to print the last item. Oh yeah, of course there is. So how you would do that is instead of using -1, if we just leave that blank, and this would print the fourth to last item all the way to the end. Since if we leave it blank, it defaults to go to the end of the list. So my list -4, this would print everything, strawberry, blueberry, raspberry, grape, all the way to the end. All right, cool. Any other questions about what we've gone over so far? All right, that's great. So good job for keeping up so far. Um, and next we're gonna go on to conditionals. So this might be a little bit more challenging. And I can't type, I guess. Okay, so to determine whether a specified item is present in a list, we use the in keyword. And this just checks if an item is in a list. And let's say this list is our shopping list. And you just wanted to check, make sure that, you were gonna buy apples this weekend. And the way to do that is you check, you do if apple is in my list, and where, in is the keyword that we use, and my list is the variable name of the list that we use. And just like a normal if statement, we indent it, we print whatever, we do whatever we need to do. In this case, we'll just print, yes, apple's in my list, or otherwise we'll print, no, apple's not in my list. So in this case, apple is in our list, but if like we took out apple, then in this case, it would say, no, apple's not in my list. And one more thing I forgot to note is that list, or I think Python in general is case sensitive. So if we checked if apple with the capital A is in the list, it would print no, apple's not in my list, since these two do not exactly match up in terms of capitalization. So that wouldn't work as well. Also spaces, if we have a space at the end, this will also print no, since the space counts as a character as well. Okay, any questions on check if item statements? We'll be moving on soon, so make sure you guys have this. We're actually not going to be doing too much checking today, because that usually happens with loops, but just make sure you guys know that, because Python really need to understand the fundamentals to build on top of each other and do more challenging problems. Okay, so the next thing we're going to do is to change list items. So I mentioned that you can change items in a list at the beginning of our lesson, and that's what we're going to do right now. And to change the value of a specific item, we refer to the index number like we did before, except this time it acts kind of like a variable, and we can assign it to a specific number. So what we want to do is we want to change the second term to peach. And how we do that is we first find the second term, and we do that by doing my list of index 1, and that will be banana. And then we change that, we make that equal to peach. So when we run this, it'll be apple, peach, orange, strawberry, blueberry, raspberry, and grape. So that is how you change a specific item value. And you can also change a range of item values, just like you can, look for a range of item values. And how we do this is we first find the range of items we want to replace, and then we set that equal to what we want to replace it with. So in this case, we want to replace this list of indexes 1 through 3. So that would be banana and cherry. Then we want to replace banana and cherry with peach and watermelon. So it'd be apple, peach, watermelon, orange, kiwi, mango. And that when we run the code, that's exactly what we see here. If you insert more items than you replace, the new items will be inserted where you specified, and the remaining items will just move to the right as accordingly. So in this case, we want to replace just banana with peach and watermelon. So banana will be replaced, but cherry will stay the same. And now it'll just have it'll have a length of 4 instead of a length of 3. And like you see, it'll print apple, peach, watermelon, and then cherry. And if you insert less items than you replaced, then the new items will be inserted where specified, and the remaining items will not necessarily move, but they'll kind of be, they'll just be replaced. So we were looking for 1 through 3 this time, so that's banana and cherry. And we want to set banana and cherry equal to watermelon. So this means both of those are gone and replaced by watermelon. So when we print it, we'll have just apple and watermelon. All right, so that's changing items. We can also add list items. And how we do that is we use the append function. If we have an existing list, append is used to add an item to the end of an existing list. And how we do that is we just do the list variable dot append, and whatever we want to add. Like let's say we want to add orange to our shopping list this week. We'll do this list dot append orange, and then we'll print this list afterwards. And as you see, we have apple, banana, cherry, orange. And with appending items, it'll automatically add to the end of the list. And if we want to add to a specific uh, index of a list, like let's say we want to add it in the middle, we would have to use something called insert. So to insert a new list item, we would call the insert method, and the insert method inserts an item at a specific index. So let's say we wanted to put orange right after apple at index 1, then this list.insert orange, this list.insert 1 comma orange would insert the list item orange at the index 1. So if we print this, it'll print apple, orange, banana, and cherry. And insert takes two what we call parameters. Parameters are basically what these functions need, and they're separated by a comma always. And one is the first value is the index you want to replace it at, not replace it, the first index you want to insert it at. And then the second parameter is just what you're actually inserting. So that's insertion. And then next we'll talk about extending lists. So to append, so we can insert one item to a list, but if we want to add multiple items at once, we can, add two lists together. And to do that, we use the dot extend method, and it's pretty simple. We have this list, we have tropical, and then let's say we wanted to put all these two lists together to one big list. We do this list dot extend tropical, and if we print this list, it'll print, whatever was in this list and then add it on to whatever was in tropical. So any questions about adding, inserting items, adding items to lists, replacing and stuff like that? Okay, so great job for following along so far. I'm glad to see that all of you guys understand it. And so the next thing we'll be talking about is removing items from a list. And the remove method is the typical way that we use to, is one way that we can remove a specified item. The remove function removes the first iteration of a specific item. So let's say we wanted to take away banana from our shopping list, we would do this list dot remove banana. And once we print this list, you'll see that it prints apple, cherry, and banana. However, you might think to yourself, wait, banana is still in the list. And then in that case, we'll have to look back at the what we did, what the definition of remove does. And it removes only the first iteration of a specific item. So it'll only remove the first, it'll go through our list and it'll remove the first banana that it sees. But after that, it'll stop and it won't remove all the bananas. If we want to remove all the bananas, there's a way you can do that, but we'll talk about that in a later class. So for now, just removes the first iteration. And other ways to remove items is the dot pop method. The dot pop method removes an item at a specific index. So Dot pop one would remove banana since banana is at index one. Dot pop zero would remove apple. Um, and then dot pop two would remove cherry. So, and if you don't specify the index, the dot pop method just simply removes from the last item. It'll just remove whatever is last. So this list dot pop will remove cherry and it'll just turn into apple and banana. Uh, you might not have, you probably won't have to use the delete, but we'll just talk about it really quick, at least not right now. And the delete basically will completely delete a list. And it'll just like kind of, you can do that, it deletes the whole, delete will remove that like specific index. So let's say we wanted to just remove apple, we can do that. And more importantly, it can delete an entire list. So we have here defined this list is equal to apple, banana, and cherry. However, if we run delete this list, this list will cease to exist anymore. It'll just be gone. So it'll be as if we never declared the variable in the first place. So let's say we run print this list, then it'll return an error since this list won't exist anymore. It'll say, oh yeah, this list is not defined. Uh, that's why you guys have to be careful when using delete because it might just delete a variable that you've used, but you won't often use that too much. And there's a less like harsh, less extreme version of that, which is a clearing. And the clear method just removes every item in a list. The variable itself still exists, except now it's just going to be an empty list. So this list.clear will just remove every item inside of it. And once you print it, as you see, it's an empty string. So besides these list functions, there's a couple other ones that'll come in useful a lot of times. So the first one that we're going to talk about is count, and count just counts number of the number of like the number of times a specific item occurs. So my list.count two would print out three. Since there's three twos in my list, there's 1, 2, 3. And my list and the dot sort function will sort the list from smallest to largest. This is useful a lot of times. And as you see, when we do my list dot sort, it'll put -12 at the beginning, -3, and then 2, 2, 2, 5, 5, 8, 10, 62. And as you see, it's sorted from least to greatest. And then lastly is my list dot reverse. And my list dot reverse basically just it reverses whatever string you have. So right now we have -12, -3, 2, 2, 2, and then 10 and 62 at the very end. It'll just take the last index, make it the first one, the second last index, make it the second one, and all the way until the middle. So you'll see here that this string gets reversed, and we have a string that's going the other way in this last example. So there's a quick challenge question regarding list functions. And given an array of integers, return the list from greatest to least. And remember that my list.sort will return a list from least to greatest, but in this case, we want greatest to least. I'll give you guys like a minute to do this question because it's kind of a either you get it or you don't kind of question. You can do this with the 2 lines. It's very quick. So if anyone has an answer to print from greatest to least, just tell me so. Tell me like done, a joke, something like that. or paste me your code, that'd be cool as well. Really, any indication that you guys are finished, so we can move on to the challenge question, the remaining challenge problems if we can. And yeah, this one's relatively simple. I'll just quickly paste the code that someone sent me. And this is exactly what I would do as well. Uh, so we'll first sort my list. Okay. We will first sort my list, and then we will reverse my list. Since once after we sort it, it's from least to greatest, and if we reverse least to greatest, it'll be greatest to least. And then we just print that out, and as you see, we have the greatest in the beginning and the least at the very end. Okay, cool. So that's pretty much it for the the fundamentals of lists. And I know it's a lot of methods to go over, but the best way to kind of remember them is by doing some challenge questions. And we're only gonna have the time to do one challenge question today, but so I guess we'll go over this first one. It's a good practice question that incorporates everything we've learned so far. It uses conditionals and it uses negative indexing, and it's also printing like booleans and stuff. It's working with lists, booleans, and integers. So we have until the end of class to do this. And if you guys want a hint, just you guys can like private message me. I can send you guys on the right direction. And so yeah, good luck with this question. I believe you guys can. I believe in you guys. Okay, since it's nearing the end of class, I'll quickly go over the answer to this one. And so what we want to check here is if the first or last element in the array is equal to 6. And we can use an or statement to do that. Or so, or we can use two if statements, but we're going to use or in this case. So if the way we're gonna check if the first element is 6 is if we do if my list of 0, the first element is always index 0, remember that, is equal to 6, and then or my list of, if we think back to negative indexing, the way we get the last element in the array is -1, or my list of -1 is equal to 6. Right, that's what we're looking for. And then if either of these cases are true, we will print true. And then else print false. So let's say uh let's see this my list here. This should return true. And then let's say we try the second case, this should also return true. And this last case should return false. Yep, and that's exactly what we get. So we didn't get to the last 4 challenge question problems, but uh okay, I see. Yeah, we didn't get to the last 4 challenge problems, but if you guys have like any spare time outside of this, you guys can try some of these. I think I've sent the link in the chat, but I will send it one more time because it'll probably be all the way down there. So share, copy the link for you guys. If you guys want to go back to this document and try some of the challenge problems at the end, because I highly recommend it because they're very useful for practicing your skills in working with lists, especially working with the indexes, which can be very tricky at times because the first element is index 0, and that can trip a lot of people up when they first start learning Python. Um, so hopefully you guys can get back to some of these challenge questions later on. Like I said, they're really useful, but otherwise it seems like all of you guys have understood what we've done so far, and that's great. So that would conclude our the 3rd week of our coding club, and I'm really happy to see you guys all back again. And I wish you guys a good weekend. So see you guys later. Uh, uh, Sorry, someone asked me how do oh, I need to send it to the wrong person. Okay, yeah, there we go. Use this link right here to access it. You guys can click that and probably like create a copy in your drive so you guys have it for yourself. But yeah, anyways, thanks to you everyone for coming, and have a great weekend.